Hey everyone, welcome back. We are here for lesson 17 of our Math Notebook 2. Today's lesson is going to be going on for the next couple of days. It is multiplicative comparison. So if you kind of look at the beginning of that word, it kind of looks like multiply or multiplication. And so it basically is multiplication, but it's multiplication when you are comparing two or more things. Okay, so these are mainly story problems. They're not very long story problems, so don't worry about that, but it's story problems comparing the height or size or groupage or something of two different items or things. Okay, so I'm going to go over an example with you and kind of show you what it sounds like. So it's an example of a story problem that you might see. It says, Darlene picked 7 apples. Juan picked 4 times as many apples. How many apples did he pick? So there's a couple of things that we'll need to do when we're solving these multiplicative comparison problems. One of the things is looking for some of the verbiage or wordage that they use. Okay, so for example, if you see it says here 4 times as many, which means that Juan has picked 4 times more than what Darlene picked. And we know Darlene picked 7 apples. And then Juan picked 4 times as many. So sometimes what might help when doing this is to draw a picture. Okay, if you're not really sure what it's asking you, well, let's draw a picture and kind of figure it out. So if we knew that Darlene picked 7 apples. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's the 7 apples that Darlene picked. Juan picked 4 times as many apples, which means he's got then 4 groups of 7. Okay, so we've got 1 group here, 1 group there, 3rd group, and a 4th group. Okay, and each group has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 apples in it, so that's what Darlene picked. Okay, because he picked 4 times as many apples as Darlene. All right, so knowing once you have your picture drawn, you could always count by ones, but again, as I mentioned before, counting by ones is not a 4th grade strategy. So you gotta think, well, first off, what is our equation? Okay, so if you're looking at this, what would our equation be? All right, if she has 7 apples and he picked 4 times as many, we would have 4 groups of 7. Okay, because this multiplication sign right here, it's basically just a sign that means groups of. There are 4 groups of 7 apples. Okay, now if you write it 7 times 4, it's the same thing, it's just kind of the wording is a little different, but for multiplication, if you switch the numbers, you're going to get the same answer either way. Okay, all right, so then we have to actually solve this problem. I actually already wrote the answer right there for you. But if you don't know what 7 times 4 is, use that strategy that we talked about in one of our last videos for the break apart strategy. Okay, so we can take that, and for me, I would take this 4, and I would break that up into 2 and 2. Okay, so then we come over here, and we have this, because this number stays the same, so we have 7 times 2 right here, and then 7 times 2 right here. Okay, 7 times 2 is going to be 14. 7 times 2 is 14. Add them together and you get 28. Now, one of the things that I always tell my students when solving these multiplicative comparison problems is that you have to label your answer. Okay, it's not just 28, but it's asking how many apples did he pick. So he picked 28 apples. So make sure that you have that label on your answer as well. All right, so it's just like a multiplication problem. It's just written in a story problem form, and it doesn't actually give you, it's not just always this number times this number. You have to actually make sure you're reading the problem carefully. Okay, like this one we were looking at, it says times as many, some of that wording that they use. Okay, all right, let's try another problem here. All right, another multiplicative comparison problem. This one says, Franco's daughter is 2 feet tall. Franco is 3 times as tall as his daughter. So how tall is he? So the first thing, draw a picture. All right, drawing a picture and writing your equation are the two things you need to do for every problem that you have for these ones. All right, so if I draw a picture here, we've got Franco's daughter down here, which we know she is 2 feet tall. So I got my little measurement of 2 feet here. And then if you see, Franco is 3 times as tall as his daughter. Okay, so if you look here, I just kind of did the same thing. I drew a picture of Franco, and then he's 3 times as tall as Franco's daughter. She's 2 feet, so there's 1, 2, 3 times as tall. And there's 2 feet for each one. Okay, so your equation is going to be 3 times 2, or 2 times 3, either way again. Okay, because we have 3 groups of 2 feet. Okay, then you know 3 times 2. Hopefully that's one that you would know would be 6. But again, we need to make sure we have it labeled as feet. Because if you tell me, oh, the answer is 6. Well, how tall is he? Is he 6 centimeters? Is he 6 houses? Is he 6 dogs? How tall is he? He is 6 feet tall. All right, so this is what you're going to be working on today and tomorrow, actually. I'll have another video for tomorrow. So you're going to have this worksheet. It only has 6 problems on there for you. All right, so what you're going to do for this one is, since you can't really solve this on this worksheet and turn it in to your teacher, since we are doing online, what you would need to do is on a piece of notebook paper, hopefully you have notebooks at home that you've been using, make sure that you number each problem as you're solving it. You need to give the equation, okay, so you need to give the equation, a picture, and a labeled answer for every problem. So you can just solve them on a normal piece of paper. Make sure that your work is clear. Try and use some of your best handwriting. If your pictures are a little off or they don't look the best, that's okay. I mean, you see mine, I just use stick figures. That's totally fine. But for each problem, again, you need to make sure that you have your equation, make sure that you solve the problem, and show how you solved it. Okay, so you need to have the picture drawn, the equation, and then your answer, preferably circled so it's a little easier for your teacher to see. So what you'll do is that once you have all 6 of the problems solved, you can take a picture of your notebook paper with your Chromebook, iPad, whatever it is that you have, and then you can insert it on the slides that are coming up next. The 2 problems that I just solved for you, for Darlene and Juan, and Franco and his daughter, both of these will be on your slides that you, so you can go back and kind of look and see if you have any more questions. I would recommend carefully reading through some of these problems. Some of them are a little different than what I've just shown you. So for example, I would say number 3 is definitely one of the trickier ones where you might have a different way to show it, okay? We'll go over this one maybe later on, but just to kind of give you a heads up, not all the problems will be just like this. So make sure that you're reading them carefully and seeing what they're asking you to do. So again, make sure that when you're writing them on notebook paper, you have each number written out so I know which problem you're solving. Make sure you have your equation, a picture, and your answer labeled, nicely circled so that we can see it. If you have any questions, make sure that you let your teacher know and see if they can help you out. I know that we'll have Google Meet or Zoom and stuff if students have questions. So this is what you have for today, just these 6 problems. Have fun and have fun drawing.